All right. All right. All right, live on YouTube. Look at that. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Okay, so, what are we doing today? What are we going to start with? Constant tracing to determine what the player is looking at. Yeah, we could do that. We could do that. We got the user interface for this done for the most part. Make a limited inventory size. Honestly, we should be, is inventory full? And then we need to go through here and for loop through it. Is valid. Used slots. We'll make an integer for that. I'm gonna get it. Increment that. All right. Okay. How are you doing, Golden? I'm right here, Sorkin. I'm right here. Wake up! Wake up! If used slots is more than... Ah, shit. Six. If used slots is equal to max inventory slots, then it is deemed as full. So, it's a little weird because we're not doing any of the item pickups. What the hell was that? We're not doing any of the item pickups on... There's a motherfucker upstairs who's using a drill! Hey, Rock Kicker, how's it going? You hear this shit? You guys hear this shit, man? This is what I gotta deal with, man. What the hell is this? What the fuck is this? Man, what the hell? Man, what the hell? So we actually need to do this component by class call earlier. I suppose. So we're checking that they're not full. Yes, I know. I could probably attach it to the Boolean, whatever, man. Yeah, I know. Okay, so now I should only be able to pick up 6 items. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. There we go. There we go. Okay. All right. Well, we got that working. Okay, I think that's working well. It's a little. There was a little slight bug there, but yeah. Is this a new project or just testing things out for the other one? It's a different project. We make things confusing here. Hey, Ben. As you do. Yes, as I do. As I do. It's part of the flair of this stream. You never know what you're going to get. One day you'll join in and suddenly we'll be working on Ronin again. Who knows? Total chaos. Everything I wanted my game to be before I started working on Lithium, which is my current project. Total chaos. I don't know what that is. The way this guy's developing and playing Balatro on the second screen at the same time. No, it's Spotify. It's Spotify. And now I'm playing Outer Wilds. Who'd have thought? I'm just that much of a gamer. I'm dual tasking, solving fucking puzzles and riddles inside of a time space continuum, where time and space keeps overlapping and collapsing upon itself. I don't remember what happens in that game. Some space shit and time shit and space and shit. Imagine if that was the whole song. Okay, so limited inventory size done. Let's I don't want to do the hover tool tips right now. Please. I don't want to do that right now. Albeit not too hard, but let's just avoid that for now. Hotbar, clicking items to equip them. Okay. So so we need to go to the user interfaces. I'm using enhanced input action. I want to set action value to false in special occasion even when the player is pressing the key, but requesting a rebuild doesn't work. I don't know why. Do you know any other way? I want to set the action value to false in a special occasion even when the player is pressing a key. I'm pretty sure there is a... Isn't there like a release key? No. Release. There's a release something for an input action. I swear there's a way of releasing an input action. That might help. Where was it? I don't remember. I'm not sure. I would probably just do it through a custom event to release an input manually. But I'm pretty sure there's like, I know there's an inject, but I don't know if you can... I swear there's a way to like call... But I don't even know if these nodes work. I've had my own fair share of problems with all that stuff. So I don't really know. I do know. Total Chaos originated from a Doom 2 conversion mod, just now got released as a standalone survival horror game. Total Chaos, eh? I saw a bunch of things got showcased. I completely forgot there was even anything going on. I saw a couple other games get showcased. I think was Fate Keeper announced during, or the gameplay, was that during Xbox Showcase? God, my hair is awful. It looks awful. It looks horrible. I think I'm balding. Am I balding? Wait, hold on. Gray hairs. Nobody balds in my family, but who knows? Okay, so we need to detect. The only reason why I'm kind of like iffy right now is we have on mouse button down. System called this method to notify the widget that a mouse button was released within it. Oh, maybe we could do this then. Whatever, here, handled. It's interesting because if you click outside of the bounds and then release, it doesn't click it there, so that's perfect for us, actually. So, we'll call it here. We shall call switching to the index right here. Now, I've already done some replicated stuff right here. Let me make sure, where is all of that occurring? Set selected item is our spot. Okay. I wouldn't mind making it on button press. But we can't 100% detect if that's like what you want to do or if you're trying to drag an item. So if I do button press, I think it's going to immediately select it. So I think release is probably our best bet here. So now we can just click on the hotbar items and it will now select it, which is cool. Yeah, cool. I think I might want a hover event on the entire button as a whole. So I might do that. Because right now, the only thing that it does on hover is it only sets the item if it's valid. So I think what we'll do is I'll set the entire widget opacity. So let me do that real quick. And then let's see. So now it kind of fades out, which I think looks kind of nice. Maybe a little too much though. It would be cool if we can make the animation hop up as well, because I really like how it hops up. You can see that. I think that would be kind of nice on the hover as well. Showing like a simplified version of that. I do like me some hoppy animations. That seems pretty intuitive. You can click on items in here. Seems pretty intuitive. So you can like keep the tab bar open while still being able to play the game. So it's not like super interrupting. Cool. Okay. Done. Clicking items to equip them. Okay. Next up, scroll wheel to switch items. As much as okay, listen. As much as I want to avoid making the tooltip, as much as I want to avoid doing the tooltip, we're gonna have to do it at some point. So I might as well start right now. As much as I hate this fucking task, we're gonna have to do it anyways. So I might as well just do it right now. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, on that note, here we go. User interface, widget blueprint, hotbar slot tooltip. Have you seen the new Blender 5 stuff? You can now array in a circle without needing a curve. I never used a circle or a curve to make circles. I always did a I used an empty, if I remember correctly, to make circles. Oh, that's cool. They have a built-in way of doing it now. I'm not upgrading until, well, I'm not upgrading for a while. Because having to update all of my plugins and shit, that's just a fucking pain in the ass. And some of my plugins haven't been updated in forever, so like that's also not happening. So it's just like not worth it for me to upgrade. Like the vertex animation tool that I use to make vertex animations, that shit doesn't even fucking work in like future versions. So I don't think it does, but Mesh tool plugin was stuck on 5.4. Ah, the beauty of a plugin that you depend on. Have you looked into Scythe? Psych? Have you looked into Scythe? Scythe doesn't have like an actual marketplace thing, but it has a Patreon, so I guess you could still kind of get into it. I've not, but I'll check it out. You might fancy it if you're into like source style workflow and whatnot. How do you spell it? Scythe? Like the thing that you farm with? Scythe? Scythe editor. Damn, he upgraded the website, it looks like. It's got hotspots, manipulating textures and UVs, modifying geometry. Yeah, it's cool. I think it's just Patreon. I don't know how much it actually is. I don't know how much it actually is. $15. All you have to do is pay for it once and then you're good. Hey, Backcore. Can I ask you, why did you switch projects? I didn't feel very good about the first-person fantasy sword game, to be honest. I didn't feel very good about like the concept and whatnot. So Instead, I'd rather work on this. I feel a lot more confident about it. I'm having a really fun time doing multiplayer, even though it has its challenges and whatnot. There's something really satisfying about being able to test a game with other people and whatnot. So, am I dropping it forever? No, I wouldn't say I'm dropping it forever. I'd still like to work on it and get back to it, but I think I'd prefer working on this project, because I find this project to have a lot more potential and I'm enjoying it a lot more. Working on foliage. Let's see what you got. Ooh, nice. That's looking nice. Hey, hell yeah. Hell yeah. For the moment, I'm enjoying this. Yes, I am. Who knows how long that'll last? Who knows how long it'll last for me enjoying this? But I think this project has a much stronger concept that I think I have faith in. It's just this the first person sword one is like the first person sword one is just kind of like a little bit all over the place. The new concept is this a zombie game you were talking about? This is not the zombie game. This is like friend slop game thing. Friend slop game thing. Can I copy the entire appearance? Yes, I can. That's sick. Everyone just tells me to go to Marketplace for it, but I really like the art side of Game Dev more than any of it. I used to be a lot more on the art side. Now I feel like I'm actually just so behind on the art side. It's so difficult for me to make an environment. It's going to be interesting coming up with the art style for this game. It's going to be very interesting. So inside of the border, we are going to want probably a vertical box. This will be text. This will be item name text block. Yeah, I don't want to work on the zombie game yet because that is going to have a lot of multiplayer stuff that is going to require more like knowledge. And I'm not there yet when it comes to multiplayer, to be honest. I was on Fortnite last night. My train game idea is on there somewhere. Someone has made it in creative. Someone probably made it in Roblox as well. I remember seeing, if I'm guessing what it is, I remember seeing a train game where it's like you have to keep a train. You're in like a Wild West. You have a train or some shit. You're like surviving against enemies and whatnot. But yeah, the train, the zombie game, yeah, that one's gonna take me a bit to get to. Okay, hotbar slot. So now we need to add. Can I add a tooltip on the entire widget as a whole? Pretty sure owning player is the owning player, but let's do this just in case. Owning player. Now, when we hover over these things, it should show the tooltip, which it does. Very good. Text is a bit big, but I think big ain't bad. Maybe we make it a little bit smaller. Let's make this size 20 and let's make this size 16. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Now, of course, we only want to add a widget when you actually have something there. So, I don't know if there's a different way of doing tooltips. I feel like that's okay though. We can create so let's actually just set this to tooltip widget ref. But then what we want to do, if it's not valid, I think if we set this to null, we won't have a tooltip. Otherwise, when we actually have something there, let's go ahead and set this. So let's check that that's actually working. Okay, that we pick up something. Nice. Now it'll only have a tooltip if there's something actually there. Very cool. Okay, next up, we need to set the data of the tooltip. So let's create a function. Set tooltip data. We'll do the input as the lootable item data asset. Go ahead and call this here. Neato. How's the game going? Pretty good, I think. I think we're getting to a point where the inventory is like way more than fine. I think we got to get started on like actually putting the items in. We got to start putting the error stuff where you have to like start repairing things on the train and shit. Got to start getting to that soon. Put in like a health system real quick. Spectator state. Yeah, we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. Would that be more important currently? Yeah, probably, but I'm having fun. And that's what matters. So item text block and then item description text block. This will be item description. Okay. And that should be it. We should now be able to see our item name and description. Okay. Nice. I think that's good enough for now. I really don't think it needs any more than that. I really don't. I don't think it needs more than that. It works just fine. Everything's consistent. Good stuff. All right, let's try picking up everything. Hard to read. Maybe a little bit. So I'm thinking we make the background a little bit darker, just because fuck it. Focus on readability first, and then looks later. Okay, tooltip done. Let me double check that it works on client, which it should. I don't think there's no reason why it shouldn't. Okay. Nice. Okie dokie. Okay, next up. Tooltip done. Scroll wheel. I don't know if we really need that right now. If we dropped a red ball, a similar blueprint will be go back to the slot it was in before. If you dropped a red ball, similar blueprint will be slot bar. So if you picked it up again, it'll go back to the same slot it was in before. Would that be something that players would want? Is like when you pick up something, it going back into the same slot it was in? Or maybe it should go into the slot that you currently have selected if it's empty. I think it should be the selected slot. I'm down for the idea of it going into the selected slot. Is inventory full? Item server item looted. Add item to inventory. Okay. Okay, currently it will set the first empty. I'm a little annoyed about putting this in because I kind of wanted the inventory to also be able to work. Well, ideally, it'd be nice like for storage, like storage would keep the same component. But it's possible that we just do a completely different system and we just make the inventory work on the player. Honestly, there's already a controller cast. So I think this is just going to be just on characters. I think this will be just restricted to characters. Honestly, it's fine. I don't know if I'll go that far where it's like your number one is something because we don't have like weapons per se. I don't know if I'll go that deep into it. Do I have a call anywhere that checks if we have a ton of calls going to the controller, but what about okay, get equipped item. If it does not equal -1 equals unarmed. Or alternatively, Not valid. Okay. Is equipped slot empty? Wait, didn't we make a function for that? Is equipped slot empty? I swear we did. I swear we, oh no, is inventory full? Is equipped slot empty? Hold on, I'm, does not equal -1, or I think we want an and. And it's, that. Okay, yeah. If false, we'll go to the empty slot. If true, we'll do a different process. It'll set the current inventory index to the equipped slot. Honestly, we probably don't need a branch in here. And then it'll set the array element. I think that should work. I think it all runs off of that. Yeah, honestly, probably don't need a branch. You know, I probably, yeah, whatever. Good bright side. What are we working on today? A bunch of inventory stuff. Some interaction stuff we'll probably work on. And dude, we got to get started on like the repairing and the minigame stuff ASAP. Like that would be pretty big as well. So we are kind of reaching the important shit that we need to work on, which is like the core gameplay loop, basically. What am I thinking for the minigames? So it could either go in the direction where we just make it so you hold a specific thing, but I think it would be way more fun if like you actually have to do a thing, like the player has to do a thing when they repair something. So like if you're doing like an electrical kind of thing, maybe we do something like an electrical circuit kind of like thing. Or if you're like repairing, I don't know, a motor or something, maybe we do like some little stuff where you have to do it. I think what we might do for that is, okay, I'm going to run this idea through you guys. We do the mini games locally. So it's like when you're looking at your friend repairing something, you just see them maybe doing something. Maybe there's like a sound effect going off or something. Some like really idle sound effect just to show that they're interacting with it. And then the only time we replicate is when they completed it or failed it or whatever. I feel like that would be fine. Like obviously it would be good if we do, you know, some server check, like some server stuff to make sure like, but I think for a friend slap game, I feel like it's fine if like we just give the control to the player for that. I don't know what you guys think. If we do any sort of like mini game stuff where it's like you're like spinning cogs and shit. I don't know, something like that, right? That's kind of how I'm picturing it. So that could be some stuff there. Maybe a little UI above their head so people know they're on the task. Yeah, that could be good. I'm like picturing almost. I'm almost kind of picturing. That's why I always bring up Among Us, because I think Among Us is a good example of like just little mini game shits for like interacting with things. What else do you think would be replicated? I don't know if I would replicate the mini game, to be honest. I think I would only replicate the start and end of it. Start, end, occupied. The progress. Like I guess we could replicate the progress of it. So if like, let's say, so I'm picturing like if a friend gives up on something, it's like, hey Jimmy, come over here and try to do this shit. Do we reset the progress of it, or do we just keep the progress? That could be something that we replicate, perhaps. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, we could always do that. Because I don't want to do the repairing just as like you are holding a button on a thing and there's a little fucking circular bar and then that's it. You know what I mean? I feel like it's more fun if you have to actually do stuff like spin your mouse around or like, you know, do a little mini game kind of thing. I feel like that's so much more fun and intense. It's like, what if there's like a monster nearby you? You start hearing a monster, you're like, oh fuck, come on, spin the thing. I think making it more interactive, I think, will be more enjoyable. It doesn't need to be like some crazy fucking puzzle shit either. You know, something just simple. Something like self-explainable, self-explanatory. Like someone could figure it out just by looking at it, I think is probably more than enough. I'm getting into net dormancy mud with mine as well. So much planning to make sure everything runs smooth. I'm surely going to get into that whole debacle trying to optimize networking. That's going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. Local servers, it's all Steam session stuff. So I'm not, we're not doing any dedicated servers or anything like that. It's just like you connect to your friend and then that's it. So taking into account, okay, hey, there's a chance someone has a dookie computer. Let's keep that in mind. This scythe editor is just what I was looking for since Mesh Tool stopped getting updates. I had a feeling. Hell yes, Psych. Enjoy. Yeah, exactly, Ben. I think adding a little bit of spice to it. Unreal Engine and Duke and computer, we're gonna get some heartache. That's why I'm trying to like figure out how do I make this. I'm curious, is there a way to make Unreal, is there a way to like bring it down as much as possible, especially with a friend swap game? You know, we can kind of cut some corners from a stylistic standpoint. Maybe we could say fuck it and like find a way of making it work on like 70% screen percentage. You know what I mean? Can we find ways of doing that while still fitting well with the style? Forward shading, maybe forward shading. I've never tried forward shading before. I don't even know what the post-processing like limitations are with forward shading. No clue. I'm sure lighting is a big one, but it would be interesting to somehow get the game to run on integrated graphics. It would be very interesting if we could somehow get the game to run on integrated graphics. I don't know if it's possible. Okay, don't get me wrong. Let's say let's look at Lethal Company. What's like the minimum specs put in for the Lethal Company? Okay, so there's still a graphics card associated, GTX 1050. I'm like, I've been asking myself, I'm curious, could I get the game running on my partner's computer, it doesn't have a GPU in it. It only runs on, I think, integrated graphics. So I'm curious, what could we do? What can we do? How much time are you willing to invest in optimization? I would like to like optimize where we can, of course. I would love to. See, we're running on SM5, I believe. I believe we're running on SM5 and DX11. We're not running DX12. So I wonder how much we can do to make the game more accessible from a hardware standpoint. We're doing VR stuff for Quest 3. Just a few texture atlases and merge meshes, and it's forward shaded. I guess the question is, how do you make that look good though? Because it's like, I've done VR stuff before too, and it is a fucking pain in the dick. Could use the mobile renderer. Dude, I don't know how the hell that would look. The question is, how do we still make it look good? How do we make it still look, you know, how do we make it still fit the part? Screen space reflections, we'd probably have to just completely cut out screen space reflections, obviously. Do like some faked reflections with cube maps or something. Maybe utilize fully rough as much as possible where we can. Scroll wheel to switch the current item. Okay, so I don't really think we need that right now. Or maybe we do, I don't know. We might as well just quickly whip it up. Scroll wheel, wheel up, mouse wheel up, mouse wheel down. Equipped item plus 1 unless this is equal to 5. If it is 5, then we are just going to go back to -1. And that should work. Use the cursed wrap int node. What is what's wrapped integer? What the hell is that? Wrapped integer? Wrap integer. It's cursed? What do you mean it's cursed? Does this shit not work properly? Peek at its C++ imitation and witness the horrors. Ah, it's okay. I'll just go with the select. I'll just do my own code. It's fine. So mouse wheel down, instead of a plus, will be a minus. And then if this is equal to -1, then we set it to 5. Otherwise, do that. I believe that's correct. Let's double check. Scroll wheel up. We'll go around. Scroll wheel down. Check client. Oh, it's a little, because it's running on the server. It has some slightly finicky moments. Oh yeah, right there I tried to hit Q on an item. Okay, there are some weird moments with the scroll wheel that we can probably fix. What's funny is that as a safety precaution, I put a retriggerable delay in here. So you can't spam the server setting. So, what are you doing in my player state or game state? I'm going to be honest. I have not done anything in player state yet, I think. I've been doing a lot of it in the player character. So player state, nothing. Game state, I randomized the seed, the run seed, which basically controls how the train is randomly generated. Probably could be done in the game mode, but it's fine. Player state, I've not done anything in here yet. We probably will be using this quite a bit later on in the future. But I've been mostly running things through the player character. Like equipped item, interact distance, those are very much like player character things. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what I do in the player state. Like, what kind of stuff do I do in the player state? I don't even know what I would do in the player state. Like, I don't know. What are some examples of things you would do in the player state versus on the character? Like, obviously, taking into account the difference in the net update frequency and all that kind of shit. Right? Net update frequency on the player pawn is like 100, whereas the frequency on the player state is much different, and also the priority is different and everything. So taking that into account, like, not really sure. I think I want to say this page has a little bit of like some stuff. It's the most important class for shared information about a specific player. So player name, score, ping, team ID. Yeah, with like a spectator, I could see that, like if they died. Yeah, player name. I haven't done any of that yet. But I'm sure we'll probably find some, like, I could definitely see the player name, the ping, and whatnot. But yeah, I'm curious what other uses players might have for player state. I save that stuff in the player controller. Is that another option too, or am I failing? So the thing with the player controller, if we go like back to the gameplay framework, if you save your player name on the player controller, it kind of doesn't make sense because the only people that know about that is the server and the owning client. So when other clients want to see your name, you now have to route that through somewhere else, right? You could probably have it locally. The player controller specifies their name and then send that information to the player state. Could do that. Yeah, this visual is like, I constantly have this open to like go look back at it to remind myself like, okay, what things are server only, game mode, okay, game state, all that kind of stuff. Like, so game state, I think, is going to be more so where I do stuff. Like game state is where I'm going to probably keep track of like what things need to be repaired on the train. The game state will probably do timers on the server to determine like the state of where the train is at, you know, that kind of stuff would probably be in the game state. Player state, I don't know what other things I would do besides like their name, their ping. I guess if they're dead, right? Can you send this link? Yes. Yeah, here you go. Yeah. Like, I don't really know what else we could do on the player state. Like, you could, in theory, like right now, we have our inventory on the player character. You technically could put the inventory on the player state. But the thing is, I only really ever need an inventory when it's our pawn, you know? Like, if the pawn dies, then we drop the entire inventory right there. Like, anything that they had on them would get dropped. And then in spectator mode, we don't care about an inventory because there's no inventory when you're in spectator mode. So, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, shared information from the game state. So this is going to be a lot of where I do like where the train is at, how much time we have left on the train, all that kind of shit. You know, basically the state of the game. But more so, this is probably more so where the server is doing stuff and then sending that information to clients, or the clients would read that information from the server, you know? It's probably where I'm thinking of doing most of that shit, so yeah. Okay, scroll wheel feels okay, not perfect by any means. Inventory system, mostly done. Look at that. Mostly done. The only thing is client predicted dropping. Is this not perfect? The item that... So, did we test this? Ah, there we go. So if you have a slot selected and you pick up an item, it'll go into that slot, as you guys requested. If the slot you have is filled up, it'll go to the first slot, which I think makes sense. So if you have number 5 selected and you pick this shit up, then it'll go in number 5. So then that way, it's a little bit more, I guess, self-explanatory. One thing that we don't have that I think could be good is a swap mechanic. So if you're aiming at an item and you hit E on it, I feel like it should swap out whatever you're currently holding, but we shall see. We shall see. For now, it just works like this. And then if you have nothing in your inventory, or if you're not holding anything and you're unarmed, then it'll just go in the first slot. So hold E. Yeah, hold E could be good. Because pressing could have some, you might accidentally press on stuff. Let's put this into backlog. Hold E on an item to swap if inventory is full and currently selecting something. Cool. Swap. Okay. Okie dokie. Honestly, I'm looking at doing the interaction system. The responsible thing would be getting started on the issue tracking and working on the mini games. Like, don't get me wrong, but I'm really enjoying working on the client side stuff. Taking a little break from the multiplayer. But we should probably get started on like the mini games and repairing shit and all that kind of fun jazz. I think I have a way of doing it in my brain, like a way that we would go about doing it. Yeah. Where will I put in the mandatory gambling? Probably in the stations. I've been thinking, like, if I have extra time, I think using the stations as little breakpoints for players could be really fun. Like, I'm thinking in some of the stations you'll find... I think it would be really fun if I have extra time, because I think, like, these little things do go a long way. Putting in things like playing darts or playing pool and maybe a gambling machine. If we do a whole item concept where you can keep certain items and sell them to get stuff, I think gambling could be kind of fun. Jimmy, where did all our money go? Well, I gambled it all away. I gambled it. It's gone. I played slots. It's all gone. I think that could be kind of fun. Using the stations as a way of breaking up the gameplay. I also think what I would probably do is, as you get higher in the difficulties, kind of like Peak, where as you finish the game, you can add modifiers. One of the modifiers would probably be like you have a limited amount of time on the station. I think that would probably be something I would do at some point or another. I don't know if that's like... I feel like that's kind of like shitty though. We'll see. We'll get a feel for it. If I do end up doing that stuff where like there's mini games on the station just to like fuck around with it. Yeah. Oh, where will I put in the idea of risk versus reward? Like a rare event that you can do once an hour. Put in an item with a chance to delete it or upgrading it. I don't know. I don't know. Oh yeah, we also need to put the furnace. Consistent issue tracking for the train. And then we need furnace / fueling train. A rare event that you can do once an hour. There's like some ideas I've had where it's like there's random moments where people will other little train cabbies or whatever, train cabs will like pull up on your train. Like one of them could be like a black market, some kind of like trader, like a merchant where you can randomly trade things like that. Little things like that could randomly occur. So, yeah. Are the items you throw physics objects? I would like them to be. I think ideally, I feel like that makes, for a game like this, I feel like that's where I'd want to put physics. Right now, it's all just static. So I would want to turn these into physics objects where it's like you throw it and you actually like throw it kind of deal. But yeah, some risk and reward. I'm sure I've thought about some stuff. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Like for sure, we'll probably have some risk and reward stuff. One thing I'm kind of worried about is from station to station. I think we randomize the train again, going from like every time you go from one station to the next, the train randomizes again. Almost like it's like a ghost train, basically. Because I feel like if we keep the same train throughout an entire run, I feel like I don't know, I feel like that will get pretty I don't know, pretty lame, I guess. How does a round/play cycle work? Is it time-based? You need to survive until reaching the next station. So there'll be, so how I'm picturing it right now is there'll be 5 stations. You have to get to the 5th one. You have to survive until the 5th one. So you start at the beginning. This is the start. And then you have the 2nd station, 3rd station, 4th, and then 5th. And then this is the end. I'm thinking it would probably be timed. So it's like get from point A to point B in 10 minutes. So you have to keep the fuel going. You have to... I think it could be interesting having specific items that like boost the train. Like if you throw it into the furnace, it like speeds it up for a period of time. So it's like if you do find yourself not having enough speed to get to the end point at around a certain time, then maybe you could somehow save yourself. I don't know if I want to do a timer. I don't know yet. I have no clue if I want to do a timer. I have no clue. Either a timer or something else. I don't know yet. Because a timer could be kind of stressful, I guess. I guess the game as a whole is kind of stressful in some sense. Oh, God. Yeah, Goblet. Have I done the play test? For the sword game, no, not yet. Not yet. What are we doing as players? As players, you're basically going around the train, repairing anything that starts breaking, and you at the front engine, you'll probably get like a whole interface that shows you like, oh, where's like errors. You'll also be looting shit. So you'll be going around the train, finding luggage, you know, opening it up, finding luggages and whatnot, little items on the ground, and that will be kind of used as either usables or fuel for the train. So basically the idea is you just keep the train going, and at the same time you're basically surviving from monsters that appear at random on the train. Could have like a big time. So I was thinking like there could be like a storm that you're like trying to get away from. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. Am I keeping the funny round guy? I do want to keep the funny round guy. I don't know yet, though. I haven't done any player stuff yet. Like player character stuff. So we're train hopping, robbing as much as you can by the time the train reaches the next stop. Kind of robbing, but, you know, it's a mysterious train, you know? It's a mysterious train. It's like there were passengers and then suddenly there were not. Yeah, you are basically the idea is you're basically an engineer slash conductor of the train, right? So one of your friends might stay at the front. They might have like an actual intercom speaker that can then speak to the entire train. So then there's a little bit of level of like communication. Of course, you'll be able to find walkie-talkies. I'm thinking it would be nice to like give control to the players where it's like they can keep certain items that like maybe cost more than other things. And maybe you don't want to, maybe you end up finding extra items that you don't want to throw into the fire because you don't need to. That it'd be cool to allow the player to like sell things in between at stations because then they can like purchase items. I think that could be kind of cool. So kind of like what the list that we made yesterday, you know, things like being able to buy a shovel or bandages or a flashlight or all these other shits that we have in here, right? So, yeah. Yeah, one of the ideas is being able to throw your friends into the fire. That is something that we will do. Ragdolliness. We're gonna have some definitely like physical animation stuff going for sure. A little bit of goofiness. Definitely want to go into like the realm of like Peak and Repo. I love when they're like their eyes are like looking at you or like looking at the character or looking at what they're looking at. Like that'll be big as well. That like comedic horror I think will be great to play around with. I want it to feel somewhat sandboxy while also feeling like a video game. I think, you know what I mean? I think Peak does a really good job of that. Repo does a pretty good job of that. There's a simple goal, which is just keep going and don't die. While also having fun with your friends. I think that's kind of like the overall direction to go with this. The network profiling tool. Oh yeah, see like UE4, like it might have some applicable stuff, but I have a feeling all of it's outdated. A lot of insight stuff is like just completely different in UE5 now. Been interesting. The network profiler looks like this. So does it deal with like packets? Is that what it's basically showing? I gotta look at the shooter game demo as well, because apparently it does some good stuff too. Which I think could be a good like reference. Oh, they're using gameplay ability system in this. Of course they are. Arr. Arr. Yeah, I'll keep this open. Might be useful. I'll keep that open. Let me put that in the networking group. The networking group. But yeah, that's the idea. I am a little worried. I think there's one thing that I was thinking about is like, okay, what is the replayability of this game? And I'm thinking like, you know, I think the replayability is like fucking around with different types of monsters that you start seeing and whatnot. And I think it just comes down to content. And of course, making the minigames fun and different and whatnot. I think that'll be pretty big. Adding the difficulty modifiers. So as you play the game and complete the game more, you start unlocking more modifiers. Unlocking little cosmetics. Maybe to show off to your friends and shit. That could be kind of good. Yeah. 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 Methinks. Yes, methinks. Yes. Methinks. Me no, but What's the name of the video? I can't open the link for some reason. It is called Networking in UE4 Server Optimizations. It was 6 years ago. That waste variable is pure gold. Hmm. Hmm. I see. I see. I see. What are my net updates on my doors? I'm curious. Is the default 100? Yes. What if I set it to 5? Does that make the timeline lag? Okay, shit. Oh, shit. Kerm, I gotta say, since you started deving, you've grown a lot. I'm proud of you. Hey, thanks, Dad. Hey, thanks. Oh, shit. Set on resimulation again still. Made a model for your player with Rodin AI. Can I send it over on Discord? All right, let's see it. Just show me the screenshot. What did it come up with? Did it make it look like a Simpsons character? Did it make it look like some kind of Simpsons character? The net update frequency is akin to server take rate the players always complain about. That makes sense, but in what like, how does it what is this number in, like, it doesn't, I love how this shit does not have a fucking like description. I love that. Thank you, Unreal. Like, is this every 5 milliseconds? Is this every 5 server ticks? The replication data updating per second, 5 times a second. So honestly, this could just be 1. It doesn't need to be 5 necessarily. Very interesting. Okay, I gotta look at that video a lot more. Set it to 1 and see how it is. Honestly, yeah, we probably could. Because we do a multicast. In fact, that is actually running better because it's not doing that little snappy shit that it was doing earlier. Hold on, let me double check. Actually, oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. It's actually the rep notify catches up before the on rep catches up before the timeline. Which would make sense. Let me take a look, Mortis. Let's see. Did you post in the... Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to make the character models look like that. I want to make them look like really, really, really goofy, but not like cartoony. Because this would be so much harder to maintain from like a cosmetic standpoint. Whereas if we got Eminem guy, a guy that looks like an Eminem, you know what I mean? Like, it's so much easier to maintain. And if we do increase the scope and have different like body archetypes, that could be something we could do. Like have a guy that's taller, you know, shit like that. But honestly, I just really love the simplicity of this fucking goofy guy. So this chat couldn't have happened at a better time. You can fit through a round hole if you're a round guy. Yeah, this is kind of how I'm like picturing the characters to look like. Use Cinti assets. Mods. Yeah, I don't really want to do like a cartoony character like that. So funny enough, net update frequency is if we set it to 5. So obviously I just have to fix the fact that we just have to fix the fact that the notify sets beforehand and then the multicast plays. And then multicast plays the timeline, and then this onrep notify occurs beforehand. You know what we could do? We could just not play the onrep notify if they are within relevancy distance. Can you, is that a command? Relevant? Relevant. Oh wait, no, this wouldn't work. That wouldn't work because the only time this onrep would happen is when we are in relevancy. What if it's a player who just joined? They would get this version. It would set their location, the actor location immediately. Actors that are awake will be considered for updating per update. Net frequency will be causing waste because even though they may not have any new state that is pending replication, some engine still goes, hey, has this actor changed? No, okay, I'll move on to the next actor. Yeah, it's still checking it. Yeah. That's why I changed, well, 2 reasons. I changed this to dormant all because I didn't like the fact that when you get outside of relevancy, because the door is spawned on the server side, it makes the actor disappear. So I did dormant all. Now, I don't know if that's entirely correct. Okay, don't get me wrong. I don't know if that's entirely correct. I also set the net call distance squared 5,000 by 5,000. So there is still a distance. I don't know. I believe this still comes into play after testing it. So it just didn't make it disappear, which is good. So yeah. But it's interesting. I think what we might want to do though is change up this set with notify. I feel like that would be, this should probably play like after. Let's try it. I believe it's still going to snap, even if we do have the... I reset the frequency back to 5. Let's try going back to 1. Because if we could do this as 1, that'd be great. So let's see from the client. Looking at the door. There is more of a delay. There's a bit more of a delay. Because the update frequency is a lot lower. You guys said we can force a net update whenever we call something? Would this be the equivalent of us like calling something? Force actor to be updated to client such demo. Is this bad to call? To replicate the change immediately despite the update frequency. So we can manually call it. This, if I guess we wouldn't want to call this anywhere on tick, because this could probably overload stuff. I can imagine. So that would probably reduce the delay between client to client, if I were to guess. Let's see. That does look a lot better, while still having an update frequency of 1. Oh. Interesting. It was a little fucky, a little bit there. Why did it call oh fuck? I forgot. When does it call oh fuck? Oh, when it gets on-repped. Interesting. I think this is one of those C++ moments, actually. Because if I remember correctly, a on-rep notify, I forget what it's called in rep conditional or whatever the fuck it's called in C++, functions a bit differently. Is there a way for me to do this even beyond the timeline? No, it's not package jitter. So we have two things going on. We have a multicast that plays a timeline. So it says, go ahead, play a timeline locally. But what happens is what's going on is the multicast is behind the set notify. So the set notify on rep gets called first before this, if that makes sense. So I guess something we could do is we need a different check here. Because the multicast is going to play a little bit behind. Check Discord, is that better? I don't know. It's too Pixar-esque. Pixar-esque. It's cute though. Bottom of the compendium, replication tab has the difference between... Yeah, I just keep forgetting it. This stuff that I'm still trying to like figure out. Where was it? No, you're good, Mortis. You don't gotta apologize. You're good, brother. Was it one of the resource links, or was it something in here? I don't remember. Oh, yeah. Yeah, right here. When a server changes the value and requires the onRep function to call to, you'll need to call it manually after adjusting the variable. Because the onRep function is meant as a callback for when the variable is replicated to the client. Yeah. Which then is actually kind of good for us. Because it's like, then we can check if we want to, if they're in relevancy right now, I guess we can we choose when the onRep gets called? You'll need to call it manually after adjusting a variable. Could you choose to not call onRep? Or is it required to properly replicate? Because they do it right. Somewhere in here, probably. I remember seeing some code that had the onRep function call at the very end. Yeah, so that's my problem right now. Is the multicast play timeline. Works just fine on the client that's opening the door. It's just when someone else looks at it, there's a chance that they get the on-rep notify instead of the instead of getting the timeline call. Oh, see, we just got an oh fuck right there. Right there. It like happens randomly. Like it's so random when it occurs. It's so interesting. Am I emulating ping and packet loss? I'm always running it on average, and sometimes I'll test it on bad. So we can test it on bad right now after changing the net update frequency. That being said, I don't think the net update frequency matters all that much anymore because we are manually calling when to update. You can definitely see a major amount of lag there though. It took so long to get the multicast that it instead called the on-rep notify. Honestly, all things considered though, that's not bad because that's emulating 100 to 200 ms with 5% packet loss. Whereas average only does 1% packet loss. Yeah. That's a skeleton. That's a skeleton. That do be a skeleton. Okay. What is our next piece of the puzzle? I'm going to stand up a little bit though, because I've been sitting down for 2 hours and a half. Oh, yes. What is the next piece of the puzzle? Interaction system, perhaps. How many push-ups have I done today? You know. Yeah. Take a break. Oh, I need some water. Water. Ugh. Ugh. I did too many scoops of my fiber supplement, and now I have to drink the most bitter thing in the world. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to make some fucking overnight oats. Ah! My overnight oats! No! You know, I don't get enough nutrients, to be honest. Like, I really don't get my daily nutrients. Like, I used to eat like 2 vitamin gummies or whatever to try to get some vitamins in. But I've been pretty bad about that, I ain't gonna lie. My calorie intake probably too low. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna do something. Is this casting shadows? I got a question, chat. I know Unreal has a system to set the distance of when a light is. I guess what we could do is have a system internally to only cast shadows on objects at a certain distance. I guess that's something we could always do. Like once you're 1,000 units from an item, start casting shadows or something. Either way, the items have a relevancy distance of 2,500, I think. So I think they disappear anyways. Like they're not even rendered at all. Yeah, right there. Disappeared. But I feel like we don't need those shadows like all the time. Shadows and lighting are such a fucking costly thing, you know? Jeez. Twitter's mad at me? Twitter's mad at everything, so I don't know what to tell you. They're mad 24/7. When are they not mad? Will Twitter exist in 2050? 25 years, eh? I don't know. I don't think about that. I got 3D modeling elitists mad at me for saying pixel art is hard. Wait, what? I got 3D modeling elitists mad at me for saying pixel art is hard. So 3D people, so are they saying 3D people, so are the 3D people saying pixel art is not hard? I think 2D art is fucking hard. Yeah, I do think pixel art is hard. They're saying it's easy? Well, why don't they do it then? Why don't they try it out? Give it a try. Give it a whirl. But then they'll say, well, why would I do that when I could just do 3D, which looks better? They're just going to come up with that. That'll be their excuse. It's hard, but not as hard as 3D modeling. I actually think 3D modeling is easier. Perspective control is like right there. You know, whereas with pixels, you're dealing with a lot less pixels. you still have to represent as much information as possible, but in a lower form. And on top of that, you have to emulate the perspective that you're currently playing around with, which is a big thing in 2D in general, with 2D sketching and art in general. With 3D, in my opinion, I'd say 3D is so much fucking easier, especially now. Especially now, where you got like workflows that don't require you to use Photoshop. You could literally do everything from start to finish in 3D space, except for UVing. They're both challenging in their own ways, don't get me wrong. But I'd still say 3D is easier than 2D. Without a fucking doubt. Yeah. It was ass. In pixel art, you have to animate every frame. Yeah. 3D is easier in so many technical ways and whatnot. .3D has its challenges, don't get me wrong. Especially when you start getting into the graphics rendering world. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I don't fucking know anything about that shit. But from an overall workflow standpoint, as an artist who fucked around with pixel art when I, you know, way back, and then messed around with 3D for 10 years, pixel art's harder. Oh, you want to do a blend animation in 3D? Oh, just blend. And then choose a different curve and do some various stuff there. Oh, you want to blend in pixel art? Well, go fuck yourself. Oh, you want to blend in animation? Go fuck yourself. No, you can't do that. Maybe you can with the most jankiest thing. There's some people that have made like pixel art with like those like 2D bones. But obviously you're not going to get as good of a result as with 3D. They're also calling it pixel slop. Yeah, whatever. At that point, I wouldn't even interact with those people. Those people are just... I think those people are just... Yeah, it's on you for engaging with them on a conversation basis. You shouldn't have engaged with those individuals. 3D is generally harder because there's more things involved. I don't know. Maybe it's like I've been so much. There's always that concept where it's like 3D people say 2D is hard, and then 2D people say 3D is hard. You know? At this point, who gives a fuck? Who cares what's hard or not? Stop getting a boner over what's hard and what's easy. Just who gives a shit? Just do the thing. I'm hard. We didn't need to know that, but thank you for letting us know. Well, not thank you. How dare you? But there's pros and cons to both. They're both hard. Art is hard. Whatever. Who gives a fuck what's hard or not, man? Don't say that you're hard. Don't even think about it. Yeah. There you go. There you go. There's an argument stopper. Who gives a fuck what you think is hard or not? No one cares. Gamers don't care if the art was hard. I know, but the thing is Link is saying this is a conversation between artists. 3D artists and whatever the fuck, whoever gives a shit. That being said, anybody can call themselves a 3D artist these days. Bro, I've heard like time and time again, people saying, oh, I've been doing this for 8 years. I've been doing this for 5 years. And then I'm like, well, show me your portfolio. I'm curious. And then you see their portfolio and you wonder, do you mean you've been doing this 5 years as in like you did something 5 years ago and now you've been doing it for 5 years? Or like you've been doing it like actively for 5 years? Because I don't know. Looking at this portfolio, it seems like you did something 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and 5 years ago, and now you're a 5-year professional now for some fucking reason. I don't know. I don't do either myself, but programming an engine in C++ to take 2D sprites is easy, while programming a 3D engine to take 3D meshes, skeletal meshes is another thing out of hell. I think we're just talking from a workflow standpoint of you as an artist, not even touching the technical side of it necessarily, but just like the art side of it. You know what I mean? But honestly, they both have their fucking challenges. Who gives a shit? Just do the thing. Why do we gotta like have a competition for what's hard and not? Like, just make the thing, man. That's what I think. I've been thinking about doing it for 5 years. Alex, on the internet, you are a 5-year professional. I've had enough of model slop. This damn 3D slop. Oh. Where the fuck am I? Okay, we got the furnace. We got inventory system is like basically done. Super happy about that. We got to put crouching in. We got to put monsters. Started with the game dev, seems to like making his ego big by putting others down. You know, I can be an asshole, but I always remind myself, like, you don't gain anything from being a dick, you know? Stroking your ego is like not, it doesn't gain you anything. It just makes you look like a dick. You know what I mean? Just makes you look like a dick. That's why I don't want to act like I'm smarter than anyone, because I'm really not. I'm really not. What did I use for proximity voice chat? I use Steam Core, which I think Steam Core also takes advantage of the built-in VoIP talker. I want to say VoIP talker is built into... I want to say it's built into the thing, but I don't know. I have no idea, but I just use I use Steam Core. Does that mix into the engine audio system? It utilizes so I just recently moved the sound class over to here, so it uses the engine audio. I even increased the volume because we were having a bunch of volume issues in the last playtest, so I'm curious if this is going to fix it. I also slapped a compressor on it, but I kind of moved the knobs around and I don't really know what the fuck it's doing. So for all I know, I might just destroy like a bunch of pair of headphones in our next playtest. Steam Core is a nice wrapper / API for Steam. Steam and various other things as well. But yeah, mostly the focus is mostly Steam, like a bunch of Steam shit. Use plugins, DevSlop, big DevSlop. Hell yeah. Big DevSlop. Yeah, exactly. So where do I do that? I think it's in the character or on the controller. Yeah, character. So you specify attenuation settings and your source effect chain. So the source effect chain, I'm still trying to figure out how this shit works. That's where the compressor is. But you can associate other stuff in here too. And then the attenuation, of course, has some distance settings, and it has panning as well, but I would like to fuck around with occlusion. I haven't done it yet, but in the future I will probably mess around with occlusion, because I think that could be really fun, is like your friend's voice muffling as they get like behind walls and stuff. That being said, the occlusion system here is like super basic and stupid. It doesn't take into account, like, if they immediately go even slightly behind like a pole, that counts as occluded as far as I know. So not the best system in the world. not the best system in the world, but yeah. I know some of those words. I don't know most of them. I just read it and then I use it in my sentence. Okay, let's start fresh. Close everything. What is next? AI is weird and all, but I think it would be a fun social experience to have some open source project accepting pull requests that's just slopped out to the max just to see what it becomes. Brother, that's just called Windows 11. You're looking at it. That's Windows 11. Curious what they did for their proximity chat? Oh my god, that played it on fucking full volume. I think they probably just use Steam Core, to be honest. For the VoIP. You take things you get in Wise for granted. Yeah, see, Wise would probably have a better occlusion system for sure. Wise or even Fmod would probably have better better occlusion, better reverberation, or whatever the fuck you call it. Reverb? Is it reverberation? Like yeah, I tested it one time. It just made everything sound fucking metallic. And it just didn't sound great. I tested it for Suit for Hire. But maybe I fuck around with that for this project too. Like, that could be kind of cool. Definitely. Could be really sick. Do I have Windows 10 LTSC? I don't have LTSC. I don't even know how to buy LTSC. And also, I remember seeing something. I don't know if LTSC is like an easy, you just fucking swap your license to that. So yeah. Steam Core's legacy now? No, I just use Pro. The Pro is updated constantly. Steam Core Pro is constantly updated, and that's the one I have. In fact, it's so updated, it updated 2 days ago. This is so confusing. Last update September 29th. But then if we hear last update is November 19th. Okay, I'll give them some space. They finally got written reviews in. They finally got that shit back in. Thank you, Unreal. Thank you, Epic. Took you a while, but you're finally catching up a little bit. Thank you, Krim, for talking with Tim. Yeah. Had a nice talk with Timmy to get shit going. Come on, man. You slapping. Slacking, not slapping. How's Epic so slow at putting in the most basic UX shit? I'm telling you, I've said it time and time again. Unreal, not Unreal, sorry. Epic Games as a whole, their entire like ecosystem, they have a user experience issue. Everything. Fortnite, it's fucking ass. Fab, Unreal, like there's so many like user experience problems. I don't know who the fuck their UX designer is, or if they even have a UX designer department. They probably just go up to a program and they're like, hey, can you figure out the UX for this shit? It's like, you never let a programmer do the UX. They come up with the most diabolical garbage. They come up with the most diabolical shit ever. Tim is the UX designer. Ay. Yeah. Anyways, I'm just a complainer. I wouldn't be able to solve any of this. What the fuck am I supposed to do? I'm just a guy. I'm just a silly guy using Unreal. I'm just a silly guy. I'm just a silly guy. I don't even know how to do anything in C++. Well, I'm learning, but, you know, I'm still a noob. 12 years or 10 years or whatever the fuck of using this engine, and I'm still a noob. I don't know why YouTube keeps updating the UI either. They gotta make their people work. They gotta do something. Yeah, I think the Steam VoIP stuff is mostly the same with the built-in VoIP. So you probably don't need Steam Core for just VoIP. But yeah, Steam Core would replace Steam Advanced Session. Yes, yes. In fact, when you install Steam Core, it even tells you disable all of this shit because Steam Core will be the one basically doing it, as far as I remember. So like session stuff is all like disabled. You instead just enable the Steam Core stuff, if I remember correctly. I'm using Vivox in my project, but it doesn't mix into the engine audio, sadly. The processing offloaded to Vivox. Yeah, the audio, a huge part of our audio is that I want it to be integral to like integrated into the, like the environments and whatnot. That's a very like big thing for me. Because I want to do so many like effect based things, like an enemy like potentially like a face hugger could potentially cause you to have like a really muffled audio and all that kind of shit. Like those are pretty those are pretty important to me for a game of this kind of like style. It's like a pillar, basically, a design pillar. Okay, the furnace, monsters, the consistent issue tracking for the train. Then we need to do the repairing mini games. We should come up with like different mini games that we'd have to do. What are some other things we're gonna need? We need to work on the item system. So while we have the inventory, we do need to get started on like usable items. Context, inputs, so context inputs, I think that's the terminology we're looking for, context. Could look up some real train repair stuff. I don't know if we're going to do like any real train stuff necessarily. I think it's all going to be kind of make believe. It'll be like believable to someone who's never worked on a train. Yeah. Usable items. So we will need to get started on like, okay, so another thing we'll need is consistent issue tracking. Showing current issues and faults in the engine bay, some kind of UI. I think what would be cool is the UI is like super analog. So it's like you'd have an indicator of like each train cabin as like a square, and then like it would literally just be a flashing red light indicating there's something wrong in this fucking area. At first I was thinking it would be like a red light that shows exactly the spot of where it is, but I think literally just like as analog as possible could look really cool, and also kind of forces the player to figure out like, okay, where's the fucking problem? Is there a leak? Is there a leak in this fucker? Like, that could be kind of fun, I think. Where's the area so I avoid it? Well, hey, if you avoid it, the problem is any error or issue on the train will... I guess we'd probably want each error to be something different. So it's like if it's an electrical issue, maybe it causes other problems, or it just fully slows down the train. Any sort of like mechanical issues would slow down the train. And then anytime anything slows down the train, not good, you know? Yeah. Jammed brake. Yeah, we could have like jammed brakes. That could be cool. And I think the thing that'll also be very cool is since we have different cabin types, we can have different types of errors in different types of trains, right? And I think that will be really fun because we could have like specific cabins that have like different types of errors, and I think that'll be really fun because then there's an element of randomization, right? And I think what we might do is most of the errors will appear at close to the engine bay, but as you get further down the game, it becomes like more issues down the train, which becomes more dangerous because the further down you have to go, the higher chance that you're going to see a monster and like get fucked. So all of the elements of the game start interplaying. And I think that becomes fun, is the fact that everything kind of like affects each other. I think that's going to be really important. So yeah. Are you planning on the monsters catching up to you when the train is slowing down? It's like one of the questions I'm thinking about is like one of those elements is like maybe as you get more fucked, things get worse for you. Like monsters potentially react to things. I think it could be interesting if you maybe there's a fail state for some mini games, and if you fail, maybe it produces a really loud noise. And then that loud noise could like attract monsters. So like there's some stuff we could do there, right? Bathroom cart is flooded, grab a plunger. Yeah, a plunger could be really funny. Making dumb components you need to fix, like a machine that's labeled train speed upper in a random cabin. We had one fun idea that I've been kind of like, I think this is a good example of things that we could do. One of the cabins that could randomly spawn later on, really low chance of spawning. So then that way it's like a rare, oh fuck moment, is like a nuclear bomb is in one of the cabins. And there's a periods where you have to like manage the bomb really quickly, make sure it doesn't like explode or overheat or something. I think there's really fun stuff that we could do in that direction. Yeah, Alex, that's another idea. I was thinking like there could be some like mysterious merchant guy who's like, I got some wares, and then you can like purchase things. And then there was another idea where just randomly off the top of my head, a fucking mafia guy pulls up and you have to pay him something, or else if you don't pay him something, he'll like fuck up your train, or maybe release a monster on your train or something. You know, like little things like that. We could mess around with stuff like that. You know what I mean? Almost turn it into what it is essentially a roguelite. So really lean into the roguelite elements of it all. And then, of course, there's environmental hazards. So if you are in a specific level that's like super Arctic, maybe there's periods of times with like a blizzard. So if you were to go outside or a window randomly opens in a train cabin, you could like freeze and turn into an ice cube. Shit like that. Could be fun. Yeah. A demon you need to calm down. We have the idea of Jimmy. Jimmy has a random chance of spawning in a seated cabin, and he needs to be fed periodically, or then he ends up standing up and then he wants to eat all of the players. So there's a lot of like content possibility for this kind of project, which I'm really excited about. What am I thinking for dev time? Honestly, I know this is going to sound crazy, but from a business standpoint, I might talk to my accountant and then see about releasing the game in my next fiscal year. At the beginning of my next fiscal year. So whatever that is probably going to be the dev time. I'm thinking that's like, I think 6 months, something like that. Something around 6 months, I believe. So I think that's a really good amount of time. Might even be too much time for a friend slop game. Like, I'm sure someone might have a better idea or whatever within the realm of what I'm doing. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of just like, whatever. There was a period, there was a part of me that was like, I shouldn't stream this because I don't want someone stealing the idea. But then I remember, like, the idea doesn't matter. It's all about, like, the fucking execution. The idea is just a way of strengthening things, right? But don't take Crim's word when it comes to timelines. Hey, we're already doing pretty good. And, like, I think the biggest challenge out of all of this is just giving enough time to figure out the multiplayer, to make sure, like, things are optimized, things work and whatnot. Like, last time you said a deadline, it took 4 more years to finish it. Yes, but let's be real. I was big noob, larger noob than right now. Okay? Okay? We're still waiting for Crimson's Fantasy. That's dead. Don't even bother with that one. Don't even bother with that one. So monsters, item system. I'm just making sure I get everything on this list. Furnace/fueling the train. Proximity voice chat, I'm not going to mark as complete because we need to test a few things. We need to test attenuation, and we need to put some, like, proper settings on the main menu for it too. Still waiting for your Sword Art Online fan project? Yeah, me too, man. Me too. Me too. Me too. Me too. But yeah, I'm really excited about this project. I think there's challenges to it, but it's doable. I think. You know what I mean? It's doable. And I feel like I've kept I'm keeping a pretty tight-knit scope while also giving, there's enough freedom that, like, once we release, then we can, like, add more content and stuff. And there's definitely got, like, potential for different avenues of content, which I'm excited about. So I think that's why I'm working on this project over the other one, because the other one I'm just kind of like, there's too many design, like, it's a lot of design discovery, trying to see, like, how to get the enemies to work properly and all that kind of shit. It's like, oh, it's yeah, it's all over the place. Okay, I'm hungry. Crouching, hiding in spaces, health system, inventory system. Yeah, health system, need to throw that in. Once we get the furnace in and then the issue tracking for the train with, like, the mini games and shit, I think we're, like, going in a good direction. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Oh, dude, one of the mini games should be electrical fault in engine bay. Yes. So then that way, if there's an electrical fault, you have to get to the electrical fault ASAP. Otherwise, you literally can't see any of the other faults, and you can't even go on the intercom or whatever. Did I scrap the first-person sword game? I did not scrap it. I'm just focusing on... I think I'm putting this as priority over that project. Just because that project, I don't know, I feel like it's so, like, all over the place, and I'm kind of, like, confused about its direction in some ways, because it's kind of like, I don't know how I feel about it right now. Yeah. And I'm really enjoying this project with multiplayer and whatnot, and multiplayer was always, like, a goal of mine anyways, so... Yes. Yeah. We do need to do some more C++, though. Do need to do some more C++ in this project. Start converting some stuff to C++. We're still technically in, like, prototype stage, but yeah. What are some repair stuff people have to do on a train? I would be curious to do a little bit of research on that. Train repair. What the fuck? You know, obviously, we're not going to see any train repairs. While the train is moving. You're not really going to be seeing anything like that. So, we're just going to have to figure out shit. I don't know if we do anything track related. That I don't know. Because everything's going to happen on the train. I don't want the players necessarily getting off the train. Like, I think if you were to jump off the train, you die. It could be cool that, like, certain repairs need to happen on the outside of the train. So that could be an interesting idea, where it's like you have to, like, somehow get underneath the train. I don't know. That could be an interesting idea. Or maybe there's, like, panels that you flip open and then you have to, like, work underneath or something. That could be kind of neat. Really appreciate you doing a co-op game. I was thinking about starting one as well, and seeing you do it motivates me. I was kind of, like, always intimidated by people saying, oh, it's too hard, it's too hard, it's too hard. And it's true, like, starting out, I never did a single player game, so obviously going into multiplayer, it's like trying to learn 2 different fucking subjects at once. But I was kind of like, you know what, fuck it. I've always wanted to make a multiplayer game. I'm going to try to do it right now, and we'll see what happens. I'll just learn. The reality of it is, it's just, you got to learn at some point, right? It's the same thing with learning C++, same thing with learning GAS and all that shit, so. It's just a basis of just learning the thing. I wouldn't say puzzle. I wouldn't say puzzle game. I wouldn't say puzzle. It's more like, I'd still say it's more action-y. Almost like, you're almost doing like mini games similar to Among Us or like Resident Evil or Amnesia. Amnesia has some like little things where you have to like move your mouse around and shit, right? Amnesia could be a good example of like little things like that, I guess. Yeah. Slop is the word you're looking for. Especially with Unreal, since it comes with client/host or whatever setup right out of the box, is not that bad. Yeah, I guess it's just a case of like, I don't know what I don't know yet, right? So I don't know what the like problems are going to be once we run into them. What kind of technical issues are we going to be running into? What kind of like weird shit, weird physics shit are we going to have to run into? I'm going to see if I can set up smooth sync with the items. Where let's put a task for that. I also need to convert everything to GMC, but use smooth sync on items for physics. Convert player character to GMC v2. I'm not looking forward to that because it's probably gonna be a lot of fucking stuff we're gonna have to change there. But that's fine. Anyways, I'm gonna go. I'm super hungry. We did a little bit of work today. I'm probably gonna do some more work off stream, but a lot of the inventory stuff is good. You can do a whole bunch of different events with it. You can pick up items by clicking on it. You can equip shit. You can swap. You can have a slot and then it'll go into that slot. So that's pretty cool. We got a tooltip in, so you can start seeing what things are. So pretty good. The next thing is like local stuff where it's like you hover over an item and there's a constant line trace so that we could show you what you're actually looking at. So we'll probably do a bunch of contextual stuff for that as well. Yeah. Yep. Okay. I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. I don't know if I'll stream this weekend. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll see. Probably not. I'm probably going to work this weekend. No, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I will. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for dropping by, everybody. Thanks for lurking, chatting, and sticking around. I got to get started on the train shit because that's such a huge part of the game. And then maybe I got to start figuring out the monsters as well. Figuring out the monsters might be a good idea. Seeing how well they work in multiplayer is going to be interesting. All right. Goodbye. Have a great weekend. See you on Monday.